Took a 2-day hiatus, and some people were worried that something was wrong, but I was really doing it to try to trick the algorithm of Instagram. And I don't know if it's worked yet because I haven't really posted anything. So here I am. If you are interested in attracting anything you want, then listen to this live and join us every Monday and Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to get the life that you want. The biggest problem with people is that they don't believe that they can get the life that they want. We think that we're here and life happens to us instead of life happening from us. What does that mean? It means that everything that's happening to us is happening through us through a vibrational sensory. Hi, happy Monday. What's up? Mary, Benny in the house, Karen in the house. I'm reading today from The Universe is Mental. Everything stems through us. Everything comes through us vibrationally, whether we want to believe that or we don't, whether we want to admit that or we don't, that things are happening through us. They're not happening to us. So if we don't like the things that are happening to us in life, we have to change the story. We have to change the channel. And it's not always easy to do that. It's not always easy to look in the mirror and say, I'm the one that did this. I caused this. Whatever vibration that I am on, what's up, Joel, is what caused what's happening. Whether it's good or bad, so you're like, I did this. Magic. Or be like, shit, I did this. Not magic. Thank you, Karen. Pin. Come on. Okay. I fell with Tigger off the top 7 stairs. Are you guys okay, Ben? I'm so sorry to hear that. When things like that happen, I'm like, what was I thinking before that? How was I feeling? What was going on? What happened to me? Something. And I was like, I was in a mood. I was in a certain mood, and that's why that happened to me. I'm grateful I didn't have to go to the hospital. We're grateful too, but I'm glad that you guys are okay, and let us know if Tigger's okay. So the book I'm reading from is The Universe is Mental, which is obviously what we talk about here, about attracting anything that you want. We attract the things that we want. We attract the things that we don't want. Just by the energy that we're giving off every single day. If you know a person that there's constantly something going wrong in their life all the time, and you know how this all works, you know based on your conversations with this person, that it's not surprising that things always go wrong. Or things always go according to what their vibration is. Someone in my family just was like, always getting in fights all the time, all the time, all the time. You're just like, that's not surprising. It's not surprising at all, because you know how this person operates. You know what this person's, what their attitude is towards life. When you think that everything in life is a fight, you manifest everything in life being a fight. When you think about, wow, I'm so grateful for life. I'm so happy today. I'm so happy and grateful that I woke up. I'm so happy and grateful for all the people that are in my life. The universe is going to keep on sending you more people to be happy and grateful for, more reasons in your life to be happy and grateful. And it's not always easy every day. I'm not sitting there telling you, well, life, this is so easy. Manifesting is so easy. Once it becomes more of a habit, it does become much easier. But there's also times where things still aren't going your way, and that might make you spiral. And before you know it, you've spiraled so much that you've caused unfortunate things to happen that you didn't want to happen, until you're just like, oh shit, I did that. That's my fault. That's my responsibility, is to keep my thoughts on a leash and not allow things to continue to go down and down and down and down and down. Attracting anything you want means the good and the bad. If you're in a bad mood every day, or if you're constantly complaining all the time, or if you're constantly gossiping about other people, the universe will give you more things to gossip about. It'll keep your world small. It'll keep you unhappy. It'll keep you away from the things that you want. And then we get to the point of obsession over this, and we don't want to do that either. We want to get to a comfortable place in our lives where we say, everything's going great. And you're not constantly obsessing, like, am I doing this right? Am I manifesting this wrong? because that is also coming from a state of lack. Is not trusting that the universe or God has your back all the time. Keep your thoughts on a leash. Mayor, don't we have to do that? We really do. Because if we don't keep our thoughts on a leash, they're going to keep going. And they're not coming back. And unless you stop them in their tracks, you change them, and you say you're staying right here, you're not going anywhere. The thoughts that can run are the thoughts that are bringing me the things that I actually want and desire. The universe is mental. It says understanding the 7 spiritual laws of the universe. This isn't my favorite book, but it's books of what we need to hear about the 7 laws of the universe, right? Because you want to learn about these things, but, could it be a little more interesting? Probably. But I'm grateful it's not worse too, Ben. I need a shorter, stronger leash for my thoughts. Listen, we all do. There's not a whole lot of people that have mastered their thoughts. Are there people? Absolutely. But we're working on it every day. Every day is a work in progress. But once we realize when something's already out of control, you realize, oh yeah, I was thinking really negatively. Oh yeah, I was really thinking about that. Oh yeah, I was harping on this one thought. You can literally go back in your mind and be like, yep, that's why that happened. I did it. I'm sure every person in here can go back to a thought that has brought on something unfortunate, and you're like, yeah, my thoughts were I was really dwelling on this one thing, and then it happened. And what most people that don't understand this work or the laws of the universe is that if you're dwelling on something and it happened, it's not like, see, I knew this was going to happen to me. I knew it was going to happen. You did know because it was in your head and you manifested that. You attracted that energy. You attracted that vibration. Right? The principle of mentalism is the first law of the universe. The principle of mentalism. It's the first great spiritual law of the universe, and it's one of the immutable laws, meaning it cannot be transcended in any way. It has always existed and it will always exist, and we need to acknowledge and we need to understand it, which is what we're doing here. We are practicing the principle of mentalism. Understanding how all this shit works. This universal law tells us that all is mind. The universe is mental. I just want you to think about that for a second. The universe all around you that you are experiencing is a projection of your mentality, of your thoughts, of your thinking. So think about how powerful that actually makes you, that makes me. If my reality is a projection of my thoughts, if the universe really is all mental. Some people are having the most amazing life right now. Some people are having the worst life right now. Some people don't even know where their life is right now. So how is it that we're all in the same world and we're all experiencing such different realities? Because the all is mind, the universe is mental. Everything we see and experience in our physical world has its origin in the invisible mental realm. Everything we see and experience in our physical world, what we're seeing here, has its origin in the invisible mental realm. Everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. There is no escaping that. It's not a choice. So anything that does happen is a result of an energy, frequency, or vibration. We cannot escape energy, frequency, or vibration. It's always happening whether we want it to be or not. It tells us that the universe is universal consciousness. That's what Karen, I think, just said. The universal mind from which all things manifest. All energy and matter at all levels is created by and is subordinate to the omnipresent universal mind. Your mind is part of the universal mind. Yes, the book talks about the seven. It's all about the seven laws of the universe. It's decent. It's not my favorite book, but it's giving me the information that I need. Your mind is part of the universal mind, the same in kind, with the only difference being the level of degree of, and your reality in turn is a manifestation of your mind. Your reality in turn is a manifestation of your mind. That's all that you need to know. Everything that's happening right now, to me, has been manifested through my mind. Take out the word manifestation. It's just matching the energy of what the signal I'm putting out. Just like the signal on your phone. The signal on your phone is looking for the like energy of the tower that it can connect to. The energy or the frequency of my mind is putting out a signal, and it's looking for the like energy that it can connect to and then bring back to me. Just like my phone, it's sending out a signal to a tower that it's bringing back the energy of. I'm sure that's not the most scientific way that I can explain itself out. But we have to look at us as an antenna. Whatever energy that you're pulsing out of you, whether it's energy of negativity, it's energy of jealousy, it's energy of I'm not chosen, it's energy of nothing ever works out for me, it's energy of I don't have enough money, whatever the energy is that your signal, that your mental signal, that your consciousness signal is pulsing out, it is looking for the like energy to bring back. Maybe. Currently reading The Secret, also read Busting Loose from the Money Game and others, all the same theme. Every one of these books are the same theme, and it's all about the mental game. The universe is mental. That's what the book is called. The universe is mental. Because whatever signal that we are pulsing out, the same signal comes back. If I'm pulsing out that I'm so loved, that I'm so appreciated all the time, life is so easy, the signal that comes back is that, and that signal that comes back is the creation of your world. We must remember that all these laws operate differently throughout all the countless levels of realities and energy frequencies of which we here on planet Earth are only one. And the higher up one is on these energy vibration levels, the more strength and impact these laws will have in their individual application or implementation. When you start to go up in vibration and energy, your life will start to shift and change with that, because it has no choice, because it is the laws of the universe, because everything is through frequency, energy, and vibration. So the more times in life or in your daily habits that you're just like, everything works out perfectly for me all the time. I'm so grateful that I have everything that I need. And you stay with that attitude all the time. You're only going to amplify that out, right? Your signal that you're putting out is only going to get stronger in that frequency or vibration. Everything works out for me. Everything works out for me. Everything works out for me. So the stronger that signal becomes that you're putting out, the stronger it becomes in your actual physical world for things to happen to you that are similar to that. But if you walk around with affirmations that everything works out perfectly, I'm like, nothing's happening yet. Why am I like this? Why don't I have the things that I want? That signal that you're putting out of negativity is stronger than the signal of everything works out for me, because you're not necessarily, not even because you have to believe the thoughts that you say until that thought gets stronger, but it's the vibration. So if you're all the time putting out the signal of good, you're going to get the signal of good in return by that mapping out your entire world around you. And all of a sudden your world looks different. All of a sudden maybe you completely switch the timeline, because now your signal is putting out all these positive things. Imagine that we are all antennas like a cell phone, right? Imagine that we're all putting out the energy of, I am love, I am greatness, everything works out perfectly for me. I have all the things that I want. I'm so grateful for all of these things in my life. Imagine that millions upon millions of people put out that type of signal all at the same time. Now think about how many people have cell phones, and they're all putting this signal of energy out at the same time all day long, every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you think that that energy or that signal is not going to affect you? Because it is. That signal is energy, frequency, and vibration. 5G is so dangerous because of the gigahertz that it sends out. And it's constantly sending out signal, sending out signal, sending out signal. Why do people have cancer? Why are people losing their hair? Why do people have rashes on their skin? Why do people have joint pain? Why do people have memory loss? Because that signal is constantly being set out. That signal affects all of us in the same way that our signal up here, if we're all constantly pushing out fear, 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 even people that post shit on Instagram, if you're constantly posting out, they're doing this, the vaccine's going to do that, the next virus, Trump's not doing this, controlled opposition, all the negative things all day long. That energy has to go somewhere. And where's it going? It's going right into your consciousness. Allison, I know I need to call you back. And I'll text you. And I'll tell you why. I didn't. So that signal that we are personally putting out as an antenna ourselves is the most important thing that we could send out into the universe, because it's sending us back exactly what we're putting out. During a challenge, double up the gratitude. Absolutely. So for example, for those of us here on this dense energy vibration level of Earth, we can only apply these laws at a very basic level. And that is what our limited human minds are capable of coping with. However, those beings of light who operate on the higher vibrational levels have an understanding way beyond ours. We can't even begin to imagine the powers that such beings have. The powers that we too will enjoy when we make it into those higher levels of energy. I missed a question somewhere. Let me see real quick. How do we navigate when someone who we love is next to us in life doing this negativity when we are working on this? So, people will argue about this. People will say no one has free will in your reality. But the reality is, and I explained this the last live that I did, is that there are so many timelines that we can tap into. Right? And while you're doing this work, it's very important, and it's also very challenging, to see your partner or whomever that you're talking about, to see them differently, see them in your mind the way that you want them to show up. Yes, I get that it's very challenging. But when you see people differently, they have no choice but to show up differently, because you're tapping into the timeline where they are an amazing partner that shows up for you in the way that you want them to. And for some people, the relationship's just too far gone for you to even put yourself in that mental space. But for other people that really want that to work out, you can literally use your mind to see them as you would want them to show up for you. Do a small mental picture of you seeing them as you want them to be, because you're tapping into that timeline and energy where that actually exists. Because this is your reality. They are just in it. You are the actor, writer, director, producer of your reality, and you are just living in that space. So a person can only show up for you in the way that you believe that they will. I've changed a person into a completely different human. And I'm like, it happened so fast for me that I actually didn't even believe that this person was being sincere. So trust me, you can do that. Bean Patch Seeds said they are a mirror. Everyone is a mirror to you because it's your reality. And those people show up as you believe they are going to show up. If you're always left in life, if you're always abandoned, if things never worked out for you, if you were never chosen, you will manifest or bring in or call in through your antenna of energy that people never show up for me. I am always left. I am never chosen. Nothing works out for me. Relationships are always difficult. It's always hard to find a man. It's always hard to find a woman. I was talking to someone over the weekend, and she said, it's just so hard to find a good man. Like, all of them are divorced and this and that. And I said, that is your belief. So that's the only thing that you can attract to yourself is what you believe. What is your antenna sending out? That's the only question I want you to ask yourself today is, what is my antenna sending out? What type of energy is my antenna sending out? Is it saying to yourself, it's so hard to find a great relationship. It's so hard to find a really great woman. It's so hard to find a man that will do X, Y, and Z. Because if that's the signal that you're sending out, that's all that you're going to be able to track is, wow, it's really hard to find people. It's really hard to be in a relationship. So what signal are you sending out? Hopefully that answered your question about changing someone. So this is talking about beings of light when you get to a higher vibrational space. And I can explain this. Do I think I'm a high vibrational being? I have high vibrational tendencies, but I wouldn't go as far as to say that I am a person that really lives on a high vibration all the time. I would not say that. I would not say that I am there yet. And I don't know if I ever will get there, and I have no problem admitting that. Would it be nice to get to that space so that everything that I want always works out all the time? Sure. But that's not where I am. I love to study this stuff because I know that it's possible to get to that space. But I know how to manipulate energy. I can just say that. I know what I have to do to be able to manipulate energy and change it. This first principle of mentalism lies at the heart of Hermetic teachings. One simple idea: God is the great universal mind. God is the supreme mind. Everything is a thought within the mind of God. The mind of God is the oneness which unites everything. And because God unites everything, the name is paradoxal. God is the creator that creates itself. God is always hidden from us, yet God is also the world around us. That starts to make me do mental gymnastics when it talks about that kind of thing. Okay, let's go to, now this is I'm going to skip to this part, then I'm going to go back because I love this. Talking about mental alchemists. I know that I'm a mental alchemist in a lot of ways, but I have not mastered it by far. I know that I can bend reality to a degree. Because I can teach this, I know what it is, I know how to do it, but there's just times I don't feel like playing mental gymnastics. And I just allow life to just unfold. Instead of constantly worrying about what are my thoughts thinking, and you get into that obsessive phase of your journey of energy and calling in things and whatever, right? So, now that I've just explained that this mental capacity to create and transmute through the facility of the mind develops further in each of us as we travel through the higher energy frequency levels. So as you go higher up in the energy levels, you're able to do more things. Life starts to get much more magical, and they talk about Jesus being an ascended master. Why? Because he was at the highest level of vibration that you can get. He lived in the spiritual paradigm, which is why he could do all these miraculous things, because he was a high vibrational being. Jesus was known to be an ascended master. And because he could do all these things, people say that he was the Son of God. And based on what he taught and based on a lot of the things that I've read, he said that he was the Son of God, as all of us are the son or daughters of God. Not that he was the only one. And I believe that he talked about the I am, and he didn't mean that I as himself was the way, the truth, and the light. The I am is the way, the truth, and the light. And based on your religion, based on what you learned throughout your life, you'll probably argue with that. And that's fine, because none of us are right, is the real truth. But what makes the most sense to me is that Jesus was an ascended master that wanted people to do what he could do and more. How can you ascend to that high vibrational being where you can literally become an alchemist of your energy? Because once you start to be able to manipulate your energy on a lower vibrational scale, which is where I think I am, and I don't mean I'm low vibration, I just mean I am not at the spiritual paradigm where Jesus Christ was, because there's only about 5 people recorded in history that were at that level of high vibration. If you go to look at the map of consciousness, you could literally see vibrationally, I don't know where my book is, where you are on that map of consciousness. And once you see where you are on that map of consciousness, then you could say, this is why my life looks like this. If you're constantly in a state of anger, if you're constantly in a state of rage, jealousy, guilt, apathy, shame is the lowest vibration ever recorded. Then you understand why your antenna is sending out that energy of shame, and you just get more things in life to bring you more of the same. We amplify the energy by sending out a signal, and all that the world around us is doing is bringing things that are on that vibrational level. So when we were talking about Jesus being an ascended master, he was a very, 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 very high vibrational person. And like this book is talking about now, the higher up levels that you get, their powers in this field are way beyond our imagination. And yet these powerful beings now in the upper levels were once as we are now. And we will be where they are now. We are all traveling towards the same destination, just at a different pace. And most people will never get there. Because as long as you don't understand the laws of the universe and these principal teachings, you can never get there. Some people get there without knowing these things because they just follow their intuition. But most people follow what they're told. Most people follow what the news is telling them. Most people follow what they just saw on Instagram and let things ruin their day. But once you start to do this work to go and raise your levels of vibration, all the negative things can't exist anymore in your reality. They sure as shit don't exist in mine. Because I don't live in that space anymore. So as a matter of fact, none but advanced mental alchemists have been able to attain the degree of power necessary to control the grosser physical conditions, such as the control of the elements of nature, the production and cessation of earthquakes and other great physical phenomena. But that such men have existed, and they do exist today, is a matter of earnest belief to all advanced occultists of all schools. That the masters exist and have these powers, the best teachers assure their students, having had experiences which justify them in such beliefs and statements. I happen to know a being on this earth that is able to manipulate the weather in storms. There were people, and still are people today, that are able to do this, that they're able to manipulate the weather. Whether it is an earthquake or whether it is a thunderstorm or whatever, whether it's clouds, that they can manipulate them because they understand the laws of the universe. These masters do not make public exhibitions of their powers, but seek seclusion from the crowds of men in order to better their way along the path of attainment. We mention their existence at this point merely to call your attention to the fact that their power is entirely mental and operates along the lines of the higher mental transmutation under the Hermetic principle of mentalism. They said, okay, let's continue reading this. It takes great power to control and manipulate the grosser physical conditions we experience here on Earth, such as dense matter of mass, physical weather conditions, and the elements of nature. Weather storms, earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, these are all within the control of the great adepts, and such masters indeed live and walk amongst us. And these are people that are not out there saying, hey, look what I can do. Watch what I can do with this earthquake. These are people that understand their power. They don't abuse it. Although there are some people on this earth that are evil and do. But those people that are ascended to that level, they got there through their discipline of the mind. And they're not going to go out there and tell everybody how cool their magic is. They are doing it to help humanity. The Native American Indians are one such example. They could control the weather simply by raising their hand against an oncoming storm. Moses in the Bible parted the Red Sea in order to let his people through. In the Roman Christian Gospels, Jesus turned water into wine. Of course, most of us are very far from this stage, but we could still apply the principle of mentalism on our own level of reality here on Earth, even though it is a very limited version, simply because that is all most of us are capable or able to cope with right now. Applying the law of mentalism in our own lives, we will live a much more fulfilled life. This is the law of mentalism, is understanding that the universe is mental. That you are able to change things. Like the Red Sea, like people always, said that, didn't think that a lot of the stories in the Bible were real, but a lot of these people about the stories of the Bible were ascended masters. They were able to do such things because they understood the laws of the universe. Why aren't we taught the laws of the universe in school? We're taught the dumbest shit in school that we don't need to know. But we're not taught the laws of the universe. Because then we would all be able to bend reality. And if we're able to bend reality and manipulate it, you're not able to be controlled anymore. If you know that you can get through this whole thing called life on your own without direction from anybody, by just using your own direction and inner GPS system known as the intuition or your third eye, why would we need people to rule over us? Why would we need government to tell us what to do? If people took responsibility and accountability of every single part of their entire existence, what do you think this world would look like? Mary says, we have the power to harness this ability. I practice this all the time here in Tennessee to shift tornadoes. Mary can tell you about the energy of her horses. She does healing work with her horses. How do they do it? Did she teach the horses to be healers? Or do these horses just have this innate ability and intuitive sense of how to use their energy? Which is it? Because if animals have the ability to heal, why don't you? Why don't I? I do. And I use that. I use my energy. My whole life I was a healer. I didn't know. I didn't understand it. No, the horses have the innate ability. Everyone has the ability to shift and change their reality. But to most people that will watch this, or to many people that will watch this, they will think that I'm a fucking quack talking about this. Oh, she's crazy. You see that crazy stuff that she talks about? She talks about manipulating the weather. She talks about... Okay, let's give an example now that I just said that. Manipulating the weather. How do they manipulate the weather? Because they do have the tools to do that, which we all know. We know about HAARP. We know about plenty of the patents that manipulate the weather. How do they manipulate the weather? The sky is so big. How do they manipulate the weather with what? They manipulate the weather with energy. Ooh, that's a big one. They mimic with the tools that they have. They mimic the human mind and create tools that send out energies so strong that it can change and manipulate the weather. You can move things with your mind, energy focus. 100%. I used to study with this woman. She's in LA. I could see her face, but I can't think of her name. And she has videos of her like bending forks and spoons and moving paper and things like that. We have the ability to do this. We just don't know how to focus energy. And all that these weather modification machines are and stuff, aside from obviously them spraying and cloud seeding or whatever. But these things, okay, HAARP, for example. Does anybody know what HAARP stands for? High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. What's the first two words? High frequency. They're manipulating with high frequency. They're manipulating the weather with high frequency. The higher level of vibration that we are, the bigger our magic becomes when we obviously know how to use it. So everything, this whole thing comes full circle to everything is energy. And what is the stuff that comes from our mind? The universe is mental. So what does that mean? Our mind is energy. Our consciousness is energy that can't be created or destroyed. We're borrowing this meat suit that we have here, and then when we leave, we are not destroyed. Our consciousness moves on to another plane. So if our consciousness can't be created or destroyed, that's all that we have in this world right now is the consciousness, is the living energy. But how are we living that energy? How are we changing that energy? How are we being in that energy? Does anybody have any questions? We got a couple more minutes. I usually don't ever do questions and answers. Do you have any questions or comments or anything? But I think once that we get this, and we're just like, wake up, you are that powerful. But sometimes I'll just get in a mood and it lasts for way longer than it should. And then I'm like, go get out your magic wand and go do your shit. They're also manipulating us with high frequency. This is why I've left the city. Nature just lets me be. Escape the hive, y'all. You won't be sorry, I promise. Definitely. I lived in the city my whole life. Went from Philly in the city to LA, and I'm like, oh, I could never not be in the city. And now I'm like, I could never be in the city. I don't want all that energy shit on me. I don't want everybody's energy on me. What question? What is the question? It just takes practice. Just do it. Mary knows. I'm glad I saw this and watched it finally clicks. And this is the thing too about learning about energy is like, I studied this for so long and it didn't click and it didn't click and it didn't click. And I was like fighting with myself. I was getting mad at myself. And then just one video I watched somewhere along the lines, I was like, oh, it all makes sense. And it just clicks. Can you imagine what would be if we came together and used our energies? But that's the thing, like, that's why the universal consciousness or energy is so important. Because these evildoers or the people that think that they're in charge on this earth understand the energy. They understand how to manipulate us to get us to the survival paradigm and to live in the survival paradigm. Because as long as the majority of consciousness is in the survival paradigm, that is what will be manifested because it's the majority feeling. If the majority feeling was joy, happiness, love, appreciation, generosity, all that other low vibrational shit could never exist here. And that's so sweet. Anything else? And because we're just going to wrap up this morning. I'm happy to be with you guys. I missed you all last week. How do we get them to stop messing with the weather? Again, it's a focused energy. Aside from, people implementing certain things to not do this anymore, it's universal energy. If we all understood how to use our energy or utilize our energy, we would be able to do anything to change everything on this earth. If you have EMF blocking devices, I have crystals everywhere in here. They actually need a good cleaning. I have the pyramids next to my bed, the Orgone pyramids or Orgonite pyramids next to my bed. My phone, here's my case. I use the Cell Defender cell phone case, and yes, it works because I've used my EMF reader when it's open compared to when it's closed. So I always have this on my phone. This is probably the past 5-6 years for my cell phone. Because obviously we always have our cell phones on us. I have the sticker on the back of my phone too, the EMF sticker. And I have my Orgonite stuff. Let's see. Is it necessary to acknowledge the possibility of a big win not happening so I don't get stuck in a state of waiting and expecting, or should I just hardwire my mind to stay on my end goal? Is it necessary to acknowledge the possibility of a big win not happening? I would really say just stay in the end. because the in-between is known as the bridge of incidents. So anything good or bad could happen in the middle, but still you just stay focused on the end goal. If your end goal is to be married, you just see the end goal that you're already married and you have an amazing, happy life. If your end goal is having the most amazing job and you got fired from a place or you didn't get the job that you wanted, you keep your eye on the end goal. I got here late. What was the book you were reading from? The Universe is Mental. Keep your thoughts on a leash. Well, you better believe I'll be focusing on that energy. Great energy shift to be positive because of this life. Thank you. I love that we all get to do this here together to start the week because we all need it, including myself. So the universe is mental. That is the first principle of the 7 spiritual laws. I'll see you guys Wednesday night for X39 testimonials. I'm feeling pretty good. Beauty, that's why I was debating if I should even ask. Yes, just stay in the end. I love this community. I can't friggin' see. I love this community so much. Thank you all. Best birthday gift. Happy birthday. I hope you have the best birthday. You will have the best birthday. You already started with a great start to your day. Happy birthday. And I'm sending you guys lots of love. I will see you this week on Wednesday night. Love y'all.